All right, hello Facebook. And we're going to go live on Instagram. Do a little Q&A today. Hope everyone's doing super well. Let's see if I can actually get this going. Live. Go live. We're live now also on Instagram. We've got some questions that came in today. So we're going to pull this one up to get started. Feel free to drop questions in as we're here. But before we get into anything else, I just want to say thanks for dropping in and thanks for your questions in advance. Appreciate it. This first question is not that detail-oriented in terms of music or anything, but feel free to drop your questions in if you have any. If not, feel free to go back to your life. What's up, Jordan? What's up, Alton? I see a couple of you getting in here. Hope everyone's doing well. Dig the specs. Yeah, these are blue light glasses. So if you don't know blue light glasses are like to block out kind of the intensity of the computer screen so that you can stay on the computer longer. I've been teaching 2 weeks straight of jazz camps online. We did our jazz trombone virtual boot camp last week, so I was running that last week, and this week teaching with my nonprofit. We have a camp this week, so just kind of rolling with the online jazz camps, but my eyes and head have been aching just a little bit. So these are some blue light glasses, and they definitely do help. So if you're a person that's spending a lot of time on the computer this summer, I would highly recommend checking them out. These ones are from Movement, MVMT. They have a pretty extensive online presence, so you can find it pretty easily. So feel free to drop in any questions. Jordan, yeah, they work pretty well. So Abram is a student from UNT who asked this question: how disappointed were you that Denton Arts and Jazz was canceled? So Denton Arts and Jazz is up in Denton where UNT is. It's like the end of the year concert. It's the end of the year kind of celebration of the big bands, and all the UNT big bands play there. And so that got canceled, obviously, because of everything going on with the virus and everything. So it got canceled. How disappointed was I? Everything has been canceled. So I'm pretty darn disappointed about most of 2020 being canceled. My last 2 gigs confirmed yesterday are canceled for the rest of the year. So everything I was holding out for turned out that people are just a little too skeptical, a little too scared, and don't want to risk it, which is understandable. So everything's done now. So I think I'm just as disappointed about Denton Arts and Jazz being canceled as everything else being canceled. It's been quite a year. I'm sure we can all agree. But I'm excited to get to some stuff that I want to share as people are typing in questions or thinking of things they want to talk about today. Like I said, I'm on break from another jazz camp, so I'll be out of here by 1 o'clock at 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Eastern. I'll be back teaching jazz camp with Doug Stone, who just joined. Hi, Doug. Hi, Doug. We're teaching with the Institute for Creative Music, which is my nonprofit, and the University of Arkansas. A camp. This was the 3rd or 4th year that we've done it. Chatting with some, high school and adult students. So I hope you'll think about supporting musicians and educators trying to share this summer by going to, whatever camps that you see. I know Alexa Tarantino and Stephen Feifke are running a camp that's next week. They're running a camp, I forget what it's called, but if you look up Alexa Tarantino, you can find her camp. I know Wynton Marsalis is going to be a guest. She just announced that. So it'll be a pretty good camp, I think. Hello, Udraznu. What's happening? Jorgino, what's happening, dude? We got to do another video, man. We did a great video. I think it's on his channel. It's on, man, what was it called? Drop in the video that we did last year. We should do something else. But his question is, my brother, what is your opinion on what you should be doing in this pandemic moment where we have no jobs? Well, you should be focusing, at least in my opinion, focusing on trying to build other forms of income and other ways of connecting with your audience, man. Like, you can't rely on gigs. Gigs obviously are touch and go. I think you're in Brazil, and it's even worse in Brazil at the moment, but it seems like it's getting worse in the States too. So we're trying to keep up with you guys, apparently. but you got to find other ways to connect. I trying to build up online educational stuff and finding ways to make money off of collaborations and videos, and just trying to live in the technology world of 2020. And for me, it's just about being realistic. It's about being realistic to the current moment. Like, we have what we can do, which is connect online. We can build our audience. We can collaborate. And so I'm just doubling down and investing in the future, man. I'm just looking to 2021, 2022, 2025, 2030, and knowing that what I'm doing right now could definitely set up, the future in terms of building a wider audience, reaching more people, more students, being able to share more music. So I'm doubling down on content. I'm going hard with these live streams every week, making videos, collaborating with people that I haven't been able to because I haven't had enough time, working on a couple of records that, writing music for a couple of records for projects that it's just been sitting on my list and I haven't been able to do it. I know it seems like the worst times to not have any gigs, but for me, it's been a really great time to get caught up on a lot of these ideas and to prep for the future, to prep for what's coming, So if you can, I know it's tough everybody has to do what they need to do to survive, but to kind of diversify yourself and figure out what are the other things you can do to like reach people, what are the other things you can do to actually make money, to make yourself be able to survive. Everyone's going to have to find out what those things are. Lots of musicians have done other stuff in order to facilitate their creativity over the years, and I think sometimes within musician communities we get this idea that like if you do anything else, then you're a sellout and you're not a real musician or whatever. People just think that that's what's happening, but it's just really not accurate. You have to live life first and then be a musician. You can't just figure that you're gonna be able to survive the same way that we always have. So for me, I'm trying to be flexible, trying to be able to keep moving and try to make music. What's up, Josh? Joshua Levinson saying hello. I'm doing pretty well. How's everything with you? Hope things are going well for you too. Joshua's a great composer and trumpet player and educator in New York. Got to play a couple gigs. It's been a couple years now, but I hope we get to play again sometime soon. But so Giorgino, I hope we can get back to playing soon. I'd love to do another collaboration, man. If you want to play some trombone duets, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. So something else that I'm doing, like I said, doubling down on content. If you can, you're very welcome, Josh. Happy to give a shout out to great musicians. So something that I'm doing to focus my efforts for July is doing this. I just decided to call it Christmas in July because I thought that was kind of funny. And so I've been shooting to do 25 educational videos, little kind of snippet videos with PDFs that'll be coming starting on July 1st. So next week, Wednesday, for 25. So not every day in July because 4th of July, people aren't going to be paying attention. But so 25 out of 31 days of July, there'll be a brand new video on my YouTube channel and probably also on Facebook and Instagram and such. But with little nuggets of stuff to work on. Sometimes my videos can be kind of long or kind of complicated, so I tried to truncate them down, make them a little more fun, and so that's coming, and that's been a big project of mine. I'm still editing all those videos down together, so that'll be fun. Jazz Trombone Christmas in July is coming next week. We'll probably talk about it when we do a Q&A next week too, but so Giorgino, I hope you can find some inspiration, man, and I hope we can play together sometime. He had asked a question over on Instagram for those that are on Facebook right now, but I don't know, man. We just have to find other new ways of connecting with people, and there's a whole movement. I don't know if you guys know about this whole thing, kind of I don't know if it's a secondary genre or if it's kind of like a coexisting genre, but something that I learned about last week or 2 weeks ago is there's this whole Lofi Hip Hop jazz movement that's been happening on Spotify and other streaming platforms. And so if you're a person that can do like remixes and stuff like that of taking jazz recordings and making it hip-hopified kind of. Hello, him, star 143. Thanks for being here. Henry Zuccarello's here. Hey, Henry. Henry came to camp last week. Henry was a great, I think he's in Boston, young trombonist, making things happen. I was talking about Lofi Hip Hop. So if you're a person that's into Ableton and can do that, I have a whole stable of artists with Outside of Music. I'm wearing this Outside of Music t-shirt today, but a whole stable of artists that are looking for collaborators to kind of go into this hip hop lo-fi space. This is kind of a new opportunity to use instrumental music, maybe not for the explicit reason of just listening to it, but maybe to be more of background music and stuff like that, and just a new vibe. It's really blowing up. So if you're a musician out there that can make that type of music, hit me up. We're starting a new branch of our label. So Outside in Music, it'll be called Outside in Selects, and that'll be focused on this like lo-fi, hip-hop, jazz, fusion kind of stuff. It's not like fusion. It's not like Mahavishnu Orchestra fusion. It's like this kind of chill fusion thing, not like this crazy stuff. But so we're taking questions today. I've got about 15 minutes. If anyone is dying to ask a question, I've kind of, because of being busy the last couple of weeks, my schedule for the show has kind of fallen to the wayside. So I apologize if anyone had been expecting it to happen at 12 as usual, or at 1 p.m. Eastern as usual. But we will be back on schedule for the rest of July, I think. So Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern, doing this live stream Q&A. And I want people to let me know if they liked on YouTube and on Facebook. I was doing these trading sessions, and there were some people that I know were into them, but I wasn't sure if there were more people that were using them later or after the fact. So if you're a person that has been using those trading sessions, let me know if we should keep doing them. We did eight of them. And if you don't have any clue what I'm talking about, I recorded a bunch of videos with some play-alongs that where we trade, just like we were hanging out playing tunes, So it's like a bunch of standards, blues. We did one with Coltrane tunes. We did a couple of Wayne Shorter tunes. So they're just labeled as trading sessions over on YouTube. So if you want to check those out, if you're looking for some stuff to practice, it was just fun to be able to see all the people playing along with them. A couple people have recorded themselves and reposted them online. I got to say hello to Javier, who just got in here. Dr. Javier Nero, for his first single, Discord, came out on Tuesday on our label, Outside in Music. And he just got engaged, so congrats, Javier. I saw the videos. Super awesome. Congratulations. Let's go back here a little bit. I saw some questions coming in. One from Alex Gurr. He says, do you notice alternate positions for notes like D, first or fourth, as different timbres for the same notes? Yes, this is a very interesting question. I really like this question. And Joshua, I see your question also. I'll get back to that in just a second. Okay, so check it out. I don't need to play anything. The overtone series. So a note that you play in first, D, just above the bass clef staff, is in a different overtone series than the D when you play it in fourth. It's in the partial where the F is, right? When you play the D in fourth, so it resonates differently. So yes, it has a different timbre. Oftentimes you have to make sure that you get the alternates to be just as rich and full as the regular, quote unquote, regular position. So it's really important to be able to work on that. So number one, match up. Steve Turre used to have us do this thing. Match up our alternates. Make sure they sound almost exactly the same. They're sort of the same. They probably weren't exactly the same. I always need to work on those as well. But to start to think about that, and then in conjunction with intonation, thinking about, okay, if I play this in fourth, like it's going to sit differently than I play it in first. Like try this. Get together with two other trombonists. Well, you can't right now. But when you can, have one person play G in fourth, and then play like B natural in fourth, and then play your D in first, and then play your D in fourth, and see what happens. You're going to be surprised that it's going to lock in a different way in fourth position, with everyone in fourth position playing the same overtone series than if you have one person playing in first and two people playing in fourth. It's a weird science experiment, but it does work actually. So check it out. Thanks, Javier. The glasses. All right. There's some questions over here on Facebook. I'm going to pull them in. So this is from Joshua Levinson, who I was talking about before, a great trumpet player. He says, most important question, how do you keep optimistic during this very stressful time? I love composing, but what if no one ever hears it or plays it? Well, that's a good question, man. How do I keep optimistic? I mean, you write music to hopefully share. I mean, I think we'll come out of this. I mean, if we don't, if we never come out of it, we never play gigs again, at least I got some good music. I think we have to adapt, you know, like if it's like, okay, what about if I write tunes and then I can adapt them to an electronic situation where it's me playing with the computer? Maybe that's not ideal, but maybe that's what it ends up becoming. I'm trying to be inspired by the times, by the limitations. Like when I practice and when I teach, and I'm teaching right now this week, I'm always talking to the students about practicing by using restrictions. So this is similar to me. You're using a restriction to guide the way that you're composing or playing. You know, you use that restriction. So for me, it's like, yeah, I can do live streams. I can connect with people here. So if I can get my computer to make the sound and I can play along with it and I can send it to Instagram and Facebook, then I'm good. Like I can do something, you know. So the stuff that I'm thinking about projects where people can record from home. You know, I'm thinking about projects that are much more, I mean, tight is the word that comes to mind, but just meaning like very organized, very much like play exactly this. It's not going to be just free improvisation forever. You know, it's going to be very much more organized. And so that's what I'm thinking about in terms of trying to stay inspired, is to come up with projects that fit the current moment rather than just wish that we could play like normal. Because what does that even mean anymore? And who knows? I mean, many of the clubs could be gone in New York by the time this is all over with. And so then what do we do? So, you know, I'm trying to just kind of be open and try to keep thinking about where we could get to with a quote unquote new kind of a new situation. So for me, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to use these as restrictions, just like improvisational restrictions, and try to move forward. That's all we can do. No matter where you're at, whether you're in school trying to see about finishing school or you've been a professional for many, many years, that's all we can do. No one knows. So for me, that's how I'm trying to keep inspired. But I'll be totally transparent and honest. I haven't really written that much music. I've written stuff when I have like a job to do, like, hey, I need you to write something for this project or that. I've done that, you know, but I've been focusing on stuff that's very literal. You know, I've been focusing on stuff where I don't have to think that hard, you know. I've been writing, I've been finishing projects where it's like it's mostly done, you know. So that's what we have to do. That's what I think about. You know, I just try to finishing up projects. I was writing etude books, which were mostly finished, and I just need to finish a couple things. I'm writing duets that are mostly finished, trying to get those out into the world. So it's kind of, I'm just trying to be very practical in this current moment. And then I have these dream projects that I've started to think about and organize in my mind with some producers and arrangers and stuff. And so maybe some large ensemble stuff coming at some point, whether it's live or on the computer. So well, that's amazing. Josh, you're writing 6 new pieces. That's incredible. I haven't even written one new piece. So I can't wait to hear it. One for George Floyd. Beautiful. All right. One more from Facebook and we'll jump back to Instagram. Got about 9 minutes here. Glad to catch one of the live streams. Do you have any recommendations for jazz albums released recently? Yeah, sure. Javier Nero, great jazz trombonist. His album's coming out soon. He has a single that came out this week. It's called Discord, D-I-S-C-O-R-D, Discord. And some other stuff that came out recently. Aaron Parks has a great record that came out. That's not really jazz trombone, but you just asked jazz in general anyway. So there's Joshua Redman and Brad Meldau. Christian McBride, Brian Blade, they have an album that's either out or coming out soon. That's a really great, but I like that Aaron Parks record. That's good. And what else what have I been listening to? Pat Metheny has a new record, which is pretty cool. I know Alexa Tarantino just released an album recently. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background. Sorry about that. I can't give him too much of a hard time. It's his birthday. What are we talking about? Okay, so Josh is telling me that record's not out yet. So it's coming soon. Next month. So I'm looking forward to that one. Let's see. Just go. Oh, Joshua Levinson has a record coming out. Didn't know, but he's got one coming. I was listening to Art Blakey this morning, which is not new. Let me pull up. So the label, we put together a monthly playlist every month. If you look, it's on Spotify. It's called This Is Jazz Today. So if you're looking for new stuff, you could go to that. But what are some other things? Jonathan Barber, great young drummer, has a record that just came out. Kurt Rosenwinkel has a great record that just came out. Gerald Clayton has a record. This is a single that came out. And there's In Common 2 from Walter Smith and Matthew Stevens is a great record. Anyway, there's a lot of new records coming out. So I'll send you to that. Go to Spotify. This is Jazz Today. It says curated by Outside in Music. And those are some new records that I've been checking out there. All right. Going back here to Theo Bennett on Instagram. He says, I've been struggling with a problem sort of for a while. My ears are way beyond my theoretical knowledge. It almost feels like I'm dyslexic when I'm trying to keep up. And then it cut off. So that's all the question I got, Theo. I think it's a very common problem for people to have, especially young musicians or any musicians. You got to catch it up. You got to take the time to catch it up, just so you know where to apply things and when and where to apply them. Check it out. This is where I start. There's basically two camps of stuff you need to check out: symmetrical scales and like key signatures, mode scales, right? So symmetrical scales is stuff like the diminished scale, chromatic scale, whole tone scale, augmented scale. Those are in one place. And then on the other side, we have 4 parent scales. This is Lucas Pino kind of talked to me about this years ago, 2010, and this helped me understand so much more. So major scale, harmonic minor, melodic minor, harmonic major. That's 4, right? And so there's 7 modes and 7 seventh chords in each one of those, right? So 7 times 4 is 28. There's 28. That's it. So we get 28 modes, 28 seventh chords. They're all diatonic. So don't just learn 1, 3, 5, 7. Learn them 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. So then all modes are interchangeable with a chord symbol. And then you won't have any more theory problems. It'll take you a little while to understand what it is, but try to label them. And you can read some stuff out of a book. That's cool. There's lots of great theory books. I recommend, there's a theory book by Darius Tarafenko, Dariusz is his first name. It's called Jazz Theory or something boring, but it's like a textbook, But that's a great book. But if you can go through it yourself, man, it's going to be super, super helpful. Way more so than me telling you or some teacher telling you about music theory. You got to learn it yourself, do it on the piano. So you're saying that, so Theo's saying, okay, it almost feels like I'm dyslexic when I'm trying to keep up with the changes. So yeah, you don't have to use your eyes to learn tunes, you don't have to. So if you're having trouble keeping up in that way with following the changes with your eyeballs, this whole camp I'm teaching this week, we do everything by ear. The camp I teach at usually with Alexa Tarantino in Rockport, Massachusetts every summer, we do everything by ear. We get it backwards in Western music education a lot of time, that we learn to see first and then to hear. So in my world, Theo, if you can hear all this stuff, you're way ahead of the game. And so catching up the theory is easy. You just have to go put in the work and put in the time to understand it, and then you start to see this goes here, this goes here. It's kind of like paint by numbers. It's like, yeah, this chord, this sound goes with this scale. This sound goes with this chord symbol. And the important thing for me to remember is which thing are you asking me to write down, Joshua? The 4 parent scales. So you get those 4 parent scales, and then you got those symmetrical scales. Sorry. And then, but by the time you got all those things figured out, you're going to have 95% of stuff figured out, and in terms of theory stuff. So just go back, Theo, take it one key center at a time, meaning major, melodic minor, harmonic major. One at a time, 7 modes, 7 seventh chords. Build them up to the 13th, and you'll know the extensions. You'll know, and then you'll be able to identify the extensions and know what are the options, you know. And then you can start to hear them all as sounds. This is the thing that I get stuck on with students, is that it's like all theoretical, and we never actually just like play it. So that's something I've been doing with my students, is trying to learn these sounds, and that everything is interchangeable. The 7th chord is interchangeable with the 13th chord, which is interchangeable with the mode, because if you spell it up to the 13th, you're playing all 7 notes stacked up. It's the same as playing the whole mode at the same time. So if you don't believe me, just play C major, C, you know, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, right? All natural, stacked up is the same as if you take C, E, G, B, take that D minor triad that's on the top, D, F, A, the stacked up, put it in the middle, you get the major scale, right? So it's the same thing with every single mode. So it's pretty straightforward when you go that way. Thanks, Joshua. I appreciate that. You're saying very kind words, and it's very much appreciated. Anyway, that gets me kind of like worked up, because sometimes people just throw this knowledge and expect you to learn it out of a book, but you can't. You got to go through it and look at it on the piano. So I have scrap paper. I took a piece of big band score paper and I wrote out all this stuff on grand staffs, like each mode, each 7th chord, each 13 chord, until I could figure out what it was. And so I had to go through it. That's the only way I understood it. I couldn't read it. Doesn't make any sense when it's words to me. Obviously it makes sense, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand it through the lens of what it sounds like, what it feels like. That's what really it's about. It's like the Phrygian mode feels a certain way. Ask Miles Davis. Go listen to Sketches of Spain, you know. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's going to have to be the last question for today. It's 12:59 or 1:59, and I've got 1 minute until I got to be back at camp. So I'm going to jump off. Thanks for a great Q&A session today. Appreciate everybody being here. We'll be back next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central with our Q&A. Until then, stay safe. Please wear a mask. Don't be one of these anti-maskers. Thanks. Okay. See you guys later.